if you have trees that are worth selling, then you may have some value. Biggest mistakes landowners make is selling to a wholesaler. You can do some homework online of identifying different species, some shady people in this business, so do be careful. Are you not sure where to start when selling your timber? Today in this video, we're gonna go through the basics of how to sell your trees and also the #1 mistake that landowners make when selling their timber. First off, you'll need to actually determine if you have trees that are worth selling. Most major buyers are only going to come out to your property if you have 10 acres or more. So keep that in mind. But if you do have that much land or even close to it, or say you have a lot of land, 40, 50, 60 acres of timber, then you may have some value. The main thing that buyers are looking for is diameter and species. If you do have the acreage and you think you have some trees, it's time to take a walk and actually walk through your woods, begin to look and see what kind of trees you have. You can do some homework online of identifying different species, and then on top of that, walking through with a tape measure and begin measuring the trees that are the most common that you're seeing a lot of and what the average size is. Most buyers are going to be looking for trees that are around 16 inches or bigger, 4 foot off the ground, and that's diameter. So measuring across the width of the tree at about 4 foot up, that's about chest high. Anything over 16 inches is probably going to have some value. When trying to determine the value of your trees, the two main things to keep in mind, again, are the species and the size. A few of the most valuable species are oaks and walnut, but most buyers will buy any kind of hardwoods, including hickory, maple, poplars. Those are the main species that buyers are looking for. Again, the most valuable are white oak and walnut. So if you're walking through your woods and you're seeing a lot of white oak, for example, that are 18 inches chest high or bigger, and there's quite a bit of them, you definitely probably have some value there in your woods, and you will most likely be able to get somebody to come out and take a look at those trees. Another factor can be the current market for the lumber. This is important and it's convenient if it happens to be high when your woods is ready to be harvested. I would not primarily base your decision to harvest your timber off of whether or not the market happens to be a little bit higher than normal. Ultimately, you need to be harvesting your timber when it is actually mature and actually ready to be harvested, and not trying to time the market, whether it's up or down at that current period of time. Okay, so you've walked your woods and you have determined that you probably have some valuable timber. Congratulations, you're just getting started now. The next step in the process is going to be finding a buyer. Most times you'll want to be reaching out to the mills in the area that are local to you, having each of these mills bring their buyer out onto your property and actually assess what trees you have, the value of them, and have them give you a price. I will say there are definitely some shady people in this business, so do be careful on the people that you work with. A lot of people have been taken advantage of by mills that are not reputable and that don't do good work, ultimately buy the timber for way less than it is actually worth. Another option is to be working with an independent consultant. And this is really what I recommend doing, is reaching out to a completely independent person that does not work directly for the mills, but works directly for you. These people will be looking to get top dollar for you, as their goals are aligned with you in that they want you to get top dollar. Their compensation is based off of percentage most of the time, off of the amount of timber that you sell, the price that you're getting. If you work with a consultant, typically they will get multiple people in to bid on the same trees. This will almost always end up getting you more money. There was a study done by Ohio State University that most people that sell their timber that work with a timber consultant or a forester end up getting more for their timber. They take fewer trees and are overall more satisfied with the process than selling directly with a mill. Now, that's not to say that there are not good mills. You can sell directly to them if you have a good relationship with them and you know that they're reputable. By all means, go and do that. But if you want to play it safe, you can work with a consultant. They are worth their price in gold. I will leave a link to that study done by Ohio State University in the description box below, and you can check it out for yourself and see what you think. The next step is to get a contract done. If you are working with a consultant, they will help you with this and help you make sure that the contract favors you. But if you are going directly to a mill or a buyer, make sure you are using a contract. This is extremely important. This both protects you as well as the mill, but just states what is going to happen. You can always refer back to that contract if there's any other questions throughout the process. This should state what trees are being cut, what you want done on the property while they're there. So you can actually negotiate these contracts most times. For example, if you want a road put in a certain place, say, it's a hunting property and you want to be able to access a certain spot and you want a road there, most times you can work with the logging company to have that done. Just be sure that it's done beforehand, before the job starts, and it's put into the contract and stated clearly what needs to happen. You've sold your timber, you have accepted a bid, you've signed the contract. Now is when the equipment moves in. This is often a period of time, so most contracts are between 1 to 2 years. And this allows the mill or the crew to come in and do the work sometime in that period of time. Most of these buyers are buying up lots of jobs at a time and cannot just come in and do it exactly when they sign the contract. They have other jobs that they need to do first until they get to you. So like I said, this is usually a 1 to 2 year process, and it can take as little as several weeks though, depending, what the scenario is. The actual time working in your woods is usually not very long. Just as a ballpark, 100,000 feet, for example, may take them 3 to 4 weeks. A small job, if you only have 10 acres, shouldn't be longer than a week or two. If you have several hundred acres, it can be several months of work. It just depends on the volume of timber that you have on your property. Now, before the crew actually moves in though, you should be getting paid. Once the contract is signed, the next step is when the crew moves the equipment in. You should be getting paid before the equipment hits the job site and they start cutting trees. This is important. I would highly recommend that in the contract it states that you get paid for the total amount before the work starts. There are some companies that do based off a percentage, and this is not a terrible option so long as it's a reputable company. Sometimes this will take several weeks after the project is finished to actually get your money back, but just make sure that you're comfortable with this company before you do something like that. Last but not least, one of the biggest mistakes landowners make is selling to a wholesaler. So what these guys will do, they will come, they will act as if they have a mill or if they have a crew, and will offer money for your timber. What they will usually do though is offer a quarter, if not even half of what the timber is actually worth. If they can get you to sign that contract, you are locked in. There's nothing you can do at that point. They will then take that contract and bid it out to a bunch of people that they know in the industry. This can be mills, this can be other buyers, and they will sell that contract to them, recoup the difference. They bought it for $45,000. They may try and sell it for $80,000, and they simply keep that spread. They did no work at all, and you won't be the wiser of it. So really watch for these people. A way that you can avoid selling timber to a person like this is just seeing if they actually have a crew, if they have their own equipment, if they work directly for a mill, who they're working for, and just ask lots of questions. It should be pretty apparent once you get to talking to these people what they're actually all about. All this money that they're pocketing should be going to you because the mills more than not will pay, full price. That money could be going to you versus to these wholesalers that really are providing no value other than providing, these jobs to the mills. So I hope you enjoyed that. If you enjoy this format or this style of video, please leave a comment. Let me know what you want to see next. Hit the like and subscribe button, and I will see you guys in the next one.